what can we do? What can we do to make sure that health is in top spirit? Health is wealth and சொல்ற மாதிரி she's going to cover those things. So we will talk about all of those things. Dr. Sowmya, Naren சொன்ன மாதிரி, first of all, hearty welcome to our teams. It's a conglomerate of almost close to 500 plus entrepreneurs. எல்லாருமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, they are from small to medium to large. They work in a global scale. They have multiple presence. And இது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எங்களோட ஃபிஃப்த் இயர். ஸோ வாசன் அண்ட் முருகப்பன் will talk about that in more in detail in the subsequent one. So first of all, இந்த டீம்ஸோட ஈவெண்ட்டுக்கு
we lost I think due to connection, but let me continue. So first of all, we would like to invite you to the Elevate 2025, which is going to happen in September 26, 27. And we would like to have you as one of the guests. And with having said that, I would like to also talk about our Elevate function. So what is Elevate, and what all the things expected in the Elevate conference. So I will again once again invite Murugapan. Murugapan, can you give some high level overview of Elevate?
Yeah, okay, sure. So we have this event happening in Dallas, as Vasan said. So why do we do this event every year? And personally, I've gotten so much of connections, business connections and networking connections at the event. So we showcase our Tamil community and the leadership, in the Tamil community. That is one thing. And this year we're also doing some social media influencer awards and recognizing some prominent influencers who make a change in our community. And we are also going to showcase some stories of how members get mutually benefited, by doing the business networking and socialize on projects and all this stuff. And we are also going to have some tech product demos of the companies part of the team's network, and food and probably some fun also. And I've been attending this for past 4 years, and in fact I'm going to be in India, but I'm going to make my trip to Dallas for this exclusive event. So I would suggest please spread this word into the community, and there's no membership to join teams. It's just like-minded Tamil entrepreneur people, who can all gather together and make a difference and elevate their businesses too. So this is called Elevate, and we have a list of sponsors. Sorry, I didn't have the sponsor list, but maybe at the end we will thank all of them. But I think it's now time for the doctor to go ahead and start. So back to you, doctor. Please take the stage.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Saravnan, for inviting me to participate in this. I appreciate that. So as I've already been introduced, I'm Dr. Sowmya Sridharan. I'm from Chennai, and I studied homeopathy in India, and then I moved to the United States and went to school here, got my master's in research in neurobiology, as well as then I went to study ND, but I also studied Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, Marmam, and neuro-linguistic programming, many things along the way, because every time I was in practice, I would see patients. I always felt that I didn't really have enough tools. So I had to keep going back to school until, not that I have all the tools now, but I do have a lot more tools than when I first started. So today, I really wanted to talk about something that is very basic, I think, but a lot of us don't always know about it. It is not talked about, is, how to take care of this body. maybe we actually have heard a few things like health is wealth. Without your body, that's your canvas. You can't do any art without your canvas, or food is medicine. We may have heard of all of these things, but many a times I actually see in practice, people don't always know what many things mean, and they do their best, but without enough information, the best isn't always helpful or enough. So I hope that I can actually open up the stage for talking about how our body functions in many different ways. What are the natural laws of health? And success leaves clues, failure also leaves clues. So disease leaves clues, health also leaves clues. So I hope to, bring up some of those points so that everyone can actually think about that a little bit, maybe do a little bit better on all of those levels so all of us can have health. Because without which I don't think we can actually be entrepreneurs, we can't actually have relationships, we can't have amazing careers, abundance, family. All of those actually becomes challenging if we don't have health. So let me talk about, so this is how I always say about health. I say that health is based on natural laws, like gravity. So how gravity, you cannot defy gravity. Nobody can defy gravity. I mean, we can go on a plane, we can actually try to jump up and down, but we always come down. There is no way we can totally defy gravity at all. The same way, health too has certain laws. And if you understand these laws, then you can actually have health. But if you don't understand it, or if you don't do it, a lot of times we are definitely going to come crashing down. There is no choice. It doesn't matter if somebody is drinking alcohol all the time and they seem to be okay today, they are going to still come crashing down at one point or another. Maybe their genetics is helping them stay healthy a little longer. Maybe when they were young, they actually ate better. They had a lot of great habits that actually is helping them to last longer. But we should never really compare ourselves with peers to say, I'm actually doing better than them. I only drink 3 beers a week and they drink 5 beers a week and they are actually worse than me, but they seem to be better, so I'm going to be better. So because I see this all the time, and people ask me all the time this question, why should I actually follow this? So that's the reason why I want to start out with that these pillars are the same for everybody. It may take longer or shorter for somebody to succumb, but if you don't follow them, we will succumb. So what are these 7 pillars? I think everybody knows the first pillar I'm going to talk about is diet. So everybody knows that food is everything. But in the current scenario, I do want to discuss something about the diet, which is that a lot of us coming from Tamil families have traditionally rice as our main food, right? Like that's our core component of our meal. Every plate, whether it is idli, whether it is dosa, whether it is rice with sambar or korambu, whatever it is that you have, rice is actually the main component of our plates. So which means that what is happening today is we see a lot of Indians with pre-diabetes and diabetes and hypertension and high cholesterol. This is such a common thing now. I am flooded with patients like that, and I'm always constantly talking to them about this, is that today we can't actually eat like our grandparents, because our grandparents were doing a lot of manual labor and we are not. Right now, I'm sitting here and talking to you, and all of you are watching here like this as well. And most of us work on a computer. We don't really have enough manual labor. So which means that if we eat the same way as our grandparents did, we are not going to be healthy because we don't do enough to earn that much food. So that's a big component that we need to consider. So every meal should actually have insoluble fiber as your main part of the meal, which means vegetables. Vegetables that are crunchy when they are raw. They don't have to be crunchy when they're cooked, but even then they'll still have insoluble fiber. But that's the main component of our meals. That's how it should be. That should be the central part of our meal. And then the rice, then the lentils, then the protein, whatever you actually have after that should become more of the sides of the plate, not the center of the plate. But we eat rice as our center of the plate. So that really needs to change if we want to stay healthy. So, and I always like to say that in the diet aspect of it, we are always talking about protein, carbohydrates, and fats, which are called as macronutrients. These are the ones that have the center stage pretty much. Everybody talks about them. But what is not talked about is micronutrients. Those are minerals and vitamins. And these are actually necessary for our body to heal and repair. And if we don't have enough of this, for example, rice is very low in micronutrients, but spinach is very high in micronutrients. So again, coming from Tamil Nadu, we have so many varieties of spinach, and those spinach have different varieties of micronutrients. So from eating that many varieties of spinach, now we hardly eat 1 or 2 varieties of spinach. And a lot of Indian people don't even include any other kind of greens like bok choy, collard greens, mustard greens, and things like that, because we are not used to those greens. So we don't really eat them. But it is very imperative that we include the kinds of greens that we have in the environment that you are in. Not everybody is going to be in the United States, I suppose, but if you are, then please include whatever grows locally for you, even if it is not an Indian vegetable. And get out of the Indian vegetables. That's another one that I want to mention, because locally grown foods have the most nutrients, and we tend to eat the same kinds of foods. Like if we like vendaka தான் சாப்பிடுவோம் எல்லாரும், or katrika. There are only a few Indian vegetables that people go for again and again and again. And most of my Indian patients do that. So I always encourage them to include things like artichoke, asparagus, radicchio, many different things that are very new to here, like Brussels sprouts. All of those things need to be included in our diet as well, because they provide us a lot of micronutrients that will be missing out on otherwise. So this is how we categorize micronutrients for minerals and vitamins. This should be something that we make sure we get in our everyday meal. First is the greens. Any kind of dark leafy greens are actually very high in micronutrients. Second is colored vegetables. Third is fruits and root vegetables. And then comes the rice, lentils, beans, all of those comes after that. And I'm talking about like garbanzo beans, those kinds of beans. And meat, all of that comes after. They don't come on the top. So which means that the more we actually include micronutrient dense foods, the better our health will be. So then somebody might ask me this question. So what, we are going to just sit and eat? You had a question?
No, please go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Please go ahead. Looks like somebody unmuted. Yeah. By mistake.
Okay, no worries. So the question then is, how do we actually do this? Like what, we are going to just be eating vegetable all day long, every day? No, we can actually have a certain plan where we make one thing that makes it easier for you to actually get a lot of these nutrients in one meal. And I personally like doing smoothies. Smoothies are something that actually has 75% greens, 25% fruits, just to make it more palatable. And then we add seeds to them, like chia seeds, flax seeds. This is our primary breakfast in my home. That's what we eat. All of us actually have smoothie for breakfast. So which means that we start our day with a micronutrient dense, healthy food, which is easy to make. It takes 5 minutes to make. All you have to do is put everything together in the blender, a high-speed blender, and blend it, and you're done. So that actually makes it very convenient. Of course, I have a full-time job, and I actually have 2 teenagers. So my life isn't actually easy or free either. So I understand the challenges that most working families have, where we don't have a whole lot of time to actually focus so much on our diet. That's why I wanted to bring up how to make it happen as well. And the second thing is, in all of your food, like lunch as well as dinner, make sure that you eat a bigger portion of vegetables than the rest of it. Just making these small tips and tricks that you can include in your everyday will have a big, long, healthy benefit. So also another thing that I want to mention about, since everybody is an entrepreneur here and time probably is of essence, is that lunch and dinner don't have to be separately or don't have to be different. That's another one that actually leads us to eat out often. So when we eat out, we don't have control over the quality of the ingredients. We don't have control over the kind of oils that they use. Also, we don't have the control of what are all the additives they add to make them taste better, flavorful. So restaurants obviously are meant to make you keep coming back. They are not meant for health. So they don't actually ever say that we are giving you healthy food. They tell you that they have flavorful food. So eating out often definitely is not a friend for our health. But whenever we have to eat lunch and dinner separately, like different things, then it makes it very complicated because most of us work full time and when we come back and then we have to make another meal, we are tired. We may actually resort to just going out and eating because it's the easiest thing to do. But instead, this is what we do in my family, which is I make food in the morning. When we wake up first thing in the morning, we are usually more energetic, or rather, you should be more energetic in the morning because you just slept and woke up. If you're not energetic in the morning, that is something to be taken care of. That is something that your body is trying to tell you that something is off. So in the morning, when you're energetic, is a time to actually cook. And I cook a meal, which is usually for lunch and dinner. And that's it. So, which means I make enough for 2 meals and that's all we eat. So it's the same vegetable, same whatever I make, and we take it for lunch to school or, work. And then again, the same when we come back home from work and school. So which means nobody's actually slogging over the kitchen stove at night. It makes it so much easier. It actually allows for family time. And it also allows us to, because when we have food at home, most often, most people will not go out and eat. It's easy, it's convenient, and it's actually healthy. So that's actually one of the things that I would recommend on the diet aspect of it. Second pillar out for your health is actually water. The amount of water we drink, the kind of water we drink, and how we drink, all of that matters. So the kind of water we drink has to be filtered water. So there is something called as a TDS meter, total dissolved substances meter, that you can buy on Amazon. I would recommend highly that everybody gets that. It's like $10 on Amazon. And when you get that meter, you can actually check your reverse osmosis system, because oftentimes we get filtration systems that don't really do what they actually say they do. And we have no idea whether they're doing the job or not. The water may taste a little different than your tap water and we think it's filtering it. But even more recently, I found out from one of my patients how their water system was not actually filtering their water at all, or very barely. So you need water that's clean, and the TDS meter should show less than 50. If you have that, that means that your water is clean. It can bind to things in your body that is not good for you, that is waste, that is toxic, and remove it. But if you don't have water that's clean, then you're bringing in more waste into your body, and that's going to make the load on your body high, makes it hard for your body to stay healthy. The second part of the water is how we drink it. So most of us should be drinking water warm to hot. But some people who actually feel warm or hot all the time should drink it room temperature, but nobody should be drinking it cold. Because when you drink water cold, it stops the digestive process. It also slows down the lymphatic flow in the body, which is something that's a sewer system of the body. And if those are not functioning optimally, we cannot have health. We cannot have a good immune system. It will promote allergies, acute infections often, even reoccurring infections. So, and of course, many other conditions after that. So that's the second part of the water. And the third part of water is how much we are drinking and how we are drinking. So everybody should be drinking at least half of their body weight in ounces. So if somebody is 120 pounds, they should be drinking at least 60 ounces of water every single day. And if it's too hot or if you're exercising, you can actually drink more water. But that's how much you need in order for your body to function optimally, many of its functions. And how you drink it is you don't actually guzzle it down, you sip it all through the day. So keeping a water bottle that's maybe a Stanley or thermos will actually help a lot, because then you'll be drinking water all through the day rather than going and getting a cup, drinking a whole cup and then not drinking for hours, and then drinking another cup and not drinking for hours. That's not healthy. Or sometimes some of my patients will say, I drink 1 liter as soon as I wake up, and then I drink another 1.5 liter in the evening. Our bodies cannot keep that much amount of water, so you will just get it out through urine. And then your body will actually not be able to function optimally because there is less water. And it's also imperative that we drink water 15 minutes after eating and not while eating. So again, these are all simple steps. It is just that it requires a little bit of attention. Once we have the attention and we start doing it, it becomes so much easier to keep it up. It's not something that you have to think about. Third thing, so that food, water. Third is sleep. So I know a lot of people are actually working or having offices in India and not really sleeping well, or sleeping at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the night and then waking up again at 7, 8, or maybe even 9 or 10 because they worked at night. They think, okay, I can make it up in the morning. But there is such a thing as an internal clock in our body. So it doesn't work according to our schedule. It works according to the functions inside of the body. So between 10 and 6 in Chinese medicine, we actually always talk about how every 2 hours, the body actually starts repairing different organ systems in your body. And also between 10 and 6 is where our body, in the pineal gland, there are 4 hormones that are produced, and these 4 hormones help us retrieve information, but also put away information. Like it creates memory during that time. It also actually sorts out what needs to be there and what doesn't need to be there. Like all the waste information is also sorted out. So you don't remember 4 days ago what you ate because it's not necessary. So we have to kind of clear up information that we don't need and store information that is needed. So if you're suffering from memory issues, it might be your sleep. Okay, so the next thing is, so REM sleep, there is 2 types of sleep, which is REMs as well as deep sleep. And this also happens mostly between 10 and
I
6.
think you are muted.
I am?
You're good. Good. Please go ahead.
Okay. So because of that, we have to actually understand that the REM sleep as well as the deep sleep, both are necessary, because one part of it is for rejuvenation and repair. Another part of it is for sorting out things in our body, memory. So both of those are necessary, and it happens between 10 and 6 in our bodies, all of our bodies. Okay, teenagers are a little bit of exclusion to this case, because evolutionarily speaking, teenagers were used as guards for most of the community, so they can stay up later. But as we get older, we notice that we have a hard time staying up late. So as we get older, we got to actually go to bed by at least around 10, even if it's not exactly 10, maybe 10:30, 11, whatever you can do sooner would be better, and try to actually get sleep at least until 6, because this is going to help a lot with so many different things, because all of your organs are repaired when we sleep, because otherwise we're using it all the time. If we don't repair enough, or if we don't have enough time to repair, then the next morning we have to use it again, then it's not going to function at 100%, and slowly it becomes lesser and lesser over a period of time. And also another thing that I want to remind everyone is that diseases develop over 5 to 7 years. They don't develop overnight. So many of our habits may not have an immediate impact. So if, for example, you fall off from a high building, you're going to immediately get hurt, right? So we immediately know that that's not a good thing to do. But many of these other habits that we have are like slowly falling every single day. One day or the other, or over a period of time, the injury is actually going to become apparent and deep. So even falling once would be better than falling every single day. So these habits, and again, I also like to say that there's a 90-10 rule that I like to follow. There is no need for perfection, but if we strive for 90% doing the right things for our health, following these 7 pillars, then we are going to have health. But if we move farther and farther away from the 90%, we are definitely going to have disease. It's not a probability. It is absolutely a possibility. It's going to absolutely happen. There is no, probable cause here. So that's the third thing about rest. So everybody needs rest. Everybody needs similar amount of time rest. If you actually do practices like meditation or yoga, you may need less sleep, because you are able to actually go to that state of where sleep and in sleep, where repair happens. You can do it during yoga and meditation. So if you do that on a regular basis, you'll be able to get away with doing less sleep. But for other people who don't, you do need that much sleep. The fourth thing is movement. And this is another one that's a big challenge amongst Indian population. People don't move enough. So because they have maybe work from home jobs, or they're always tied to the computer, they don't have time to go out. Maybe they take calls at night, or they take calls early in the morning. They don't have time to go for a walk, and all kinds of things. Or they work from 6 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. Whatever the story is, this is what I would actually recommend. Movement is imperative. So, if you have a dog, you know that the dog needs to be walked. We need to be walked too, or moved in some form or the other. So some of the things that I like to tell my patients on how to get movement in is stand up and work. Put maybe a little treadmill, like there are those small treadmills that go under your desk, and you can put that and walk on it while you work. If you have a desk job, then you can do that if you don't have clients in front of you. Like I have patients in front of me. I can't do that, unfortunately. So I do need to work out at other times because I can't actually be walking on a treadmill while talking to the patient and pacing around. So, but that is something that you absolutely can do if you have that kind of a job. If you don't have that kind of a job and you do have, client front, then maybe every hour or so, when you actually have a break, if you have stairs either in your house or in your office, go up and down the stairs once, even just once. If you can do that, maybe every couple hours, every 3 hours, if you just go down one flight of stairs up and down, you're going to actually get more activity, more work for your heart. And also, as we get older, what is it that we lose? We lose flexibility and mobility, especially in the knee. Most people are getting knee replacements. Why? Because we don't use them. So what we don't use, we lose. So going up and down the stairs is a fantastic exercise. Also keeps your knees lit and happy, which means you can also prevent, knee surgeries, knee replacements. And another thing that you can do is squat. So wherever you can, squat on the floor. And that's actually also fantastic for the brain, but also for the knees and also for the digestive system. So many little things that we can do is better than nothing at all. Or go for a walk. Go for a walk for 5 minutes if you can, and do it many times throughout the day. Anything that you do in small components, because we have this mentality many a times, it's all or none. Like I'll go for a walk for an hour, or I'll go for a walk in the evening for 45 minutes. And if I don't have time for 45 minutes, I'm not going to do it at all. No, 10 minutes walk is better than no walk. Or if you can actually go up and down the stairs once, it's better than none at all. But if you can do more, do more. Park your car farther away at the grocery store so you can walk to the grocery store from there. Or if you actually have a store not very far from you, within 2 miles, walk to the grocery store, carry your groceries in your hand. All of these are ways to get more exercise in. Otherwise, we are just not going to be able to stay healthy, especially in today's world, because as I mentioned about how our ancestors used to have lots of manual labor and they ate rice. They had, Ziraga Samba rice or Mapala Samba rice, all that. Adella they are so good for you. But at the same time, if you don't really do the labor for it, it is not. It actually only goes and settles in your body doing nothing good. So unless we want to be shepherd dogs, we shouldn't be actually eating foods like that. But all of these little things will help. And another thing that we see in practice is we eat 3 times a day, we don't move enough. So which means that our body is always storing away more glucose. And that's how a lot of people develop type 2 diabetes or even type 1.5 diabetes. So any movement that you get in is better than no movement. Okay, that's actually the fourth. And the fifth is elimination, which is how we eliminate every day. This is a great place to pay attention to. A lot of people don't even know if they actually had a bowel movement every single day. They don't know how much water they drank. They don't know whether they actually are, completely urinating in clear color instead of actually being yellow. Most people don't know these kinds of things. One, we need to be eliminating, especially bowel movements, first thing in the morning. And our urine needs to be clear, and we should be sweating. All of these 3 elimination pathways are extremely crucial, and we need to know how we are doing in all of these 3 in order for us to have health. Because we put in, we need to get it out. If we don't get things out, they accumulate in the body, causing diseases. And the fourth form of elimination is for women, which is periods. And this is important as well. A lot of women these days actually get hormonal pills that actually stops their period, or they get only 3 or 4 periods. That's actually a form of elimination. That is very dangerous. It's not a good thing to do at all. It will come back and bite us later. So all of these elimination are essential. So we got to pay attention to it. Make sure that we are never constipated. Never. It's not even an option, not even for babies. I know a lot of doctors say that it's okay for babies to be constipated. It is not true. Nobody should be constipated. Everybody should actually be eliminating first thing in the morning, and a good, so elimination should be easy. It should actually not be strained. You should not be straining at it. It should be complete. You should always feel satisfied after going. It should be quick. You shouldn't be sitting in the toilet for a long period of time. So having the Indian style toilets are fantastic. And I know that we cannot do that here. So a squatty potty is fantastic because it will make sure that you're eliminating completely and it's quick. Okay, so elimination is absolutely crucial if you want to have health. And then the sixth one is cleansing. Just like a car needs an oil change, even if you put the most premium gas, our body needs cleansing. So in Tamil Nadu, we actually have this practice that we have done for many thousands of years, which is neem, castor oil. These two have been used so importantly throughout the history of mankind because they have helped us cleanse. So no matter how clean we eat, we still need to make sure that we are cleansing from time to time. But if we eat poorly, it's even more imperative. So if you eat very clean, you need to cleanse at least every 6 months. So you can do neem for 3 days. Okay, you need to take the neem powder, make it into a ball with a little bit of water, and take a small ball first thing in the morning for 3 days. And the 4th day, you take castor oil, like a tablespoon of castor oil or 2 tablespoons of castor oil, depending on your weight, with warm to hot water. Mix it, drink it first thing in the morning. Don't eat anything else that day until you've completely emptied your bowels. You got to be just drinking warm to hot water. So do it on a weekend or day off where you can actually do it and you have a bathroom nearby. You will have diarrhea, but what you have essentially done is you have actually created the right kind of flora in your gut. You've also excreted any kind of accumulation over a period of time, because a lot of people think they are not constipated. But if you do x-rays on 80% of people in the United States, they will have chronic constipation. So even if you go every day, you may have some stool left behind in your intestines, and over a period of time, they actually keep accumulating, and they rot. And they will actually form the kind of pathogen. So especially if you have allergies and things like that, this is super important to you. That's the reason why you have it. If you have skin condition, that's the reason why you have it, because of constipation, whether you know it or not. It is because of constipation. So this treatment that I tell you, if you do it every 3 months, you can do it if you're healthy, you can do it every 6 months. If you're not healthy, you should be doing it first for a period of time and then at least every 2 to 3 months to make sure that you are cleansing your gut out, because your gut is your first brain. That's where health starts. Then only it actually goes to every other part of the body. And in Ayurveda, we say what you don't digest becomes poison for you. So which means that if your digestive system is full of unnecessary or unwanted things, toxins, waste, then it actually mixes with the precious food you're eating. You might be buying organic or even growing your own vegetables and all that. You're putting it in the same slough or the sewer of your gut. So it's not helpful. Cleaning it up is extremely essential because of that. The 7th one that I really want to talk about is stress or your mind. It's kind of synonymous nowadays, but it is not. Your mind is what I actually want to talk about, because as much as food is medicine, the thoughts that we have are also medicine or poison. So food can also be poison. Thoughts can also be poison. The kind of thoughts that we have affects emotions in our body, produces chemicals in our body, and has physical, tangible effects on our body. And we all know what stress does to us. So what does stress mean? Negative thinking. That's what it actually means. So either we are worried about something that may not even be true yet, or we are worried about something that might possibly happen, which usually doesn't happen, or even if it happens, why worry? Right? So and I never like to say managing stress, because it's not money. There's no point in actually managing it. It is something that we got to get rid of, kind of like do an ectomy and remove this concept that if there is a challenge, I need to be stressed. That's actually not a belief system that actually serves us at all, but all of us have it. Even little kids nowadays start saying like, I am stressed. It's so easy for them to say that, right? But instead, we need to start thinking of as, if there is a challenge, I like to use the word challenge than stress. If there is a challenge, it needs a solution. And I'll be better off finding a solution with clarity rather than being stressed. So how can I move from feeling and having negative thoughts to having thoughts from clarity? because negative thoughts typically mean you're also in a certain frequency of the brain, which is called as the gamma frequency, which does not allow us to have clarity of thoughts, because thoughts are very rapid. Like those brain waves are so rapid, there is no space between them. We need space in between thoughts in order for us to be able to see things with clarity. So maybe today is the day that you actually decide that you're never going to get stressed again. Instead, you see challenges and you look for solutions. But maybe instead of getting stressed and overthinking, maybe you actually start meditating during that time, because answers will come to you. Meditation does not mean sitting in a corner 5 minutes, in the morning, or every morning sitting for 30 minutes or 1 hour. That's not what meditation means. Meditation just means being still, letting the thoughts flow, and it can happen anytime, and also letting the answers come from within. So this can happen at any time. When you're stressed, maybe you want to shift to sitting still instead of trying to find a solution actively for at least a little bit. And once you have sat still, I've always known that the solutions come to us a lot more easily, because clarity comes to us very quickly. So, and that is a huge one, because we think thousands of thoughts a day. And the quality of our thoughts is going to decide the quality of chemicals we produce in our body. And emotions sit in our organs. They are not just something in our head. For example, anxiety sits in our digestive system. That's the reason why we say nervous diarrhea. So we have nervousness, people actually have diarrhea, or they feel queasiness in their stomach, or butterflies in their stomach. So we say these words, they are not just words, they are absolute truth, because we feel it all the time. And then we say heartbreak when we have grief. Why? Because grief sits in the heart. Worry sits in the kidneys. Anger sits in the liver. So and that's the reason why they'll actually say a drunkard's anger, because someone who's an alcoholic will always get angry very easily, because it's affecting their liver. So this is true. Your body is constantly reacting to it. So we eat 3 times a day, but we think thousands of times a day. So we need to put our minds on a leash. And I know I use a lot of dog analogies, I get it. So I have one, but it's easier to remember, right? When you can see another organism or another animal that you can put it on a leash, but we don't always think about our mind as that. But our minds need to be put on a leash, and we need to train our minds to actually think more real, positive thoughts rather than real negative thoughts, because there is 50% probability of good things happening, 50% probability of bad things happening. Why should we only focus on the 50% of bad? Why can't we focus on the 50% of what's good? Because wherever our focus goes, our energy flows. And then naturally, emotions flows, chemicals flows, all of that happens one after the other. So it's so important, because if you produce thousands of times bad chemicals in your body cannot be healthy, no matter how amazingly you eat. And I've seen this time and time and time again in my practice as well. That's the reason why it became the 7th pillar of health. So if we focus on 7 pillars 90% of the time and have habits in place, so maybe join the gym for movement, or make sure that you're actually going to only eat after you climbed your stairs up and down so many times. You have to have some accountability. And please don't wait for the motivation train. They do not come. They don't arrive at all. There is no motivation train. It doesn't exist. You just got to do it. If you are in a state of inertia, you got to get out of inertia. Nobody's going to come pick you up from there and move you into another state. You got to pick yourself up from that state and move yourself. Don't wait until you have a disease, because a lot of people wait until they've suffered enough and then they change. But sometimes it's too late. It's not actually easy to fix. And then you have to do a lot more things to get yourself better. So I've had patients who have actually done these things, and that's the best part about it. A lot of times when I say these things, it may sound too idealistic, but it isn't, because this is the laws. We may have forgotten them, but once you put it in practice, it actually becomes so easy. Many of my patients tell me that I first thought that I couldn't do this at all. I couldn't drink this smoothie. I couldn't eat this way. But they say now to me that, wow, I actually notice when I eat differently. I did it for a month or two. Now it's become easy and habitual for me. And now if I do things differently, I notice a difference immediately. I feel my energy dropping, and I realize how I was feeling all the time before. And now I can actually catch myself sooner because I feel good, and then I don't feel good, and I know when I don't feel good. But when we don't feel good all the time, then we won't even know what is causing it. So many of them, the biggest success in my practice is to help educate people and empower people. And I also would say there's one other part to it, which I'll come to in a moment. But in these cases, so many of my patients have turned their life around completely, whether it is because of cancer, because of autoimmune diseases. Sometimes it's their child that's actually having a big problem. But any of these people, typically when they have such big problems, they are willing to do anything. And when you also have such a big problem, it also takes a lot to turn it around, but they do. So which means that we all have the power to change anything we want, anything, whether it is lymphoma, breast cancer. I've treated all of those things. And in all of these cases, patients have inspired me because they have done so amazingly well. I'm always amazed by the human power that we actually hold, that we can change anything at any point in time. And with intention, even if we start with one thing at a time, over a period of time, we can just keep on building more and more and more good habits. And one more thing that I'll actually say is how you treat acute conditions. That's very important too, because nowadays we actually run to antibiotics at the drop of a hat. As soon as the throat hurts, antibiotic, or ear infection, antibiotic. But this is actually ruining our health big time. It's actually causing obesity, it's causing diabetes, it's causing allergies, it's causing asthma, skin conditions, all autoimmune conditions, so many. So one of the things that I would actually highly recommend is ask your family members, maybe your grandma, grandpa, your mother, what are all the different home-based treatments that they have done and known that is effective, and write it down and use it in your household. We have lost our heritage. We have actually lost a lot of the wonderful ways, like the neem castor oil. People who live in the United States don't even know about it, or even if they know it, they don't do it. You may have done it when you were young, but you don't do it anymore. So it's not magical that we'll suddenly get better if we don't do it. So we got to get those practices back into us, because the way we treat acute conditions is actually going to matter. The more we do acute conditions wrong, the more chronic conditions happen. The more we treat acute conditions right, the less the chronic diseases develop. And also, if you don't really know, if you don't really have a family member to ask, or if you don't really know any of those things, you can also get my book. I wrote a book as a guide to treat all acute infections, including UTIs, sinus infections, strep throat, cold, flu, whatever you can think of, it's there. And also other conditions too, like injuries, what do you do? Concussions, what do you do? And things like that. It's a practical guide. It's not, any fluff in there at all. It's just what can you do, what you shouldn't do, and that's it. And that's the book that's actually available on Amazon. It's called What's a Natural Treatment for That. That's the name of the book. My name, I'm the author. So, which means that that's a book that actually gives you everything that you can do, and it's easy enough to follow. And the more you do it, the less you will depend on the medical system, depend on someone like me, because you will actually be taking care of yourself. You'll feel very empowered, educated, and strong and powerful, and know that our bodies are a miracle in motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Sowmya, and it's amazing. உங்களோட ஸ்பீச்ல வந்து we never heard about any medicine. It was all about natural food, natural habits, which is totally amazing. I believe we do have a lot of questions. Our team members have a lot of questions in mind. Before we go to the questions answer sessions, I would like to introduce our title sponsor, because we do have an event, and also for our teams global. For this year, the title sponsor is WAS Insurance, VOSS, WAS Insurance. We do have a representative from WAS. Raghu, can you introduce about WAS for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, sure, Vasan. Thanks, everyone. Makle, this is Raghu. I am from WAS Insurance. At WAS Insurance and Investments, we help business owners protect what matters most: their business, their people, and their legacy. We specialize in designing, implementing, and managing advanced life insurance and wealth planning strategies to help you overcome business challenges like key employee retention, succession planning, business continuity, tax mitigation, etc. We also provide custom employee benefit programs and also commercial insurance coverages for closely held businesses. Thank you. I guess you all know how to reach us. Thanks for the time. Take care.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu. Thank you for the short intro. And now, the floor is open for questions. So if you have any questions to ask to Dr. Sowmya, please go ahead and you can start asking.
Dr. Sowmya, my name is Raj.
Hi, Raj.
I need to compliment you for the excellent talk that you gave, very crisp and precise. The one point that I could relate very well is the last point you made about the mental health, the stress. This kind of imagining about the future, that being very bleak and what might happen, what will happen to our business, whether we can meet our goals, the resultant tension, the what if scenarios are really bothersome. The other points that you mentioned about nutrition, etc., we are able to read in magazines, we are able to see them in TV, etc. There is a fair amount of awareness. For
Right.
instance, about drinking, smoking, etc.
Right.
But about the mental health, there is reasonable awareness, but then we are unable to do anything when the stress creeps in. Okay?
Right.
Now, what would you recommend for people like us who are intellectually aware, but then we are not able to implement a practical program to tame the mind?
Well, great question. This is so in 2013, I found myself in the same state that you're talking about, where I was stressed out about things that I had no control over. And I was actually upset, anxious all the time, couldn't sleep very well, had panic attacks and things like that. So having that experience was very eye-opening, because one time I actually had what we call as an out-of-body experience. So during one of my panic attacks, that was actually my eye-opening moment, because I really didn't understand the impact of mind on me or on my life, because I was living on scarcity all the time. Oh, it's not going to be enough. This is not going to happen. And again, because my practice is in the United States, and this was back when I was in Las Vegas, and insurance doesn't, or rather some insurances do cover, but I don't take insurance. So, and which means that people actually have to choose me in order for them to come to me and, for me to make money. So it was true. Like, I wasn't making enough money. I was a poor doctor. Despite all of the things that I actually had, I was a very poor doctor. So I wasn't successful. So it was very easy to go into that negative way of thinking that, oh my God, what is the point of doing any of these things? And again, I can be idealistic. So I actually felt like, what is the point of all of this idealism and knowing all of these things when it doesn't actually turn out to be a success in any ways, especially to sustain myself at least. And when that happened, after having that out-of-body experience once, I realized that I'm actually the cause of my own problems. And it was a big aha moment. It actually came from reading a book, and I love this book. It's called The 4 Agreements. Okay, so I highly recommend this to everyone. If you are not a reader, listen to it on Audible, but I hope you will read it, because it's a very small book. Sometimes we actually have so many belief systems in place that we are not aware of. Maybe it is our family stories that we actually carry. My financial scarcity mindset came from my father, because he actually had, a lot of challenges growing up, and they lost a lot of their family money, family legacy, family wealth. So because of that, he carried a lot of that scarcity mindset. And I, without realizing, I took it over. And whenever I was having challenges, I started repeating these stories to myself that, oh my God, I'm not going to have money. This is horrible. This is bad. I'm never going to be successful. And then when I actually started reading this book, which was actually given to me as a gift by a friend, I was very grateful. I still am grateful for it, because it changed me in the core. I realized that, wow, I keep thinking something, and my thoughts actually create the reality in this world, because we are all so powerful, right? Because we are all energetic frequencies constantly vibrating. So when we vibrate at a certain frequency, we bring in more of those kinds of things, and we reinforce the same belief system and the same reality, and we keep living in the same moment and same life and keep telling the same stories. It's called the 4 agreements, right? So then I started realizing it's my own thoughts, it's my own beliefs. And first I needed to start focusing on what is real and what is true. And that's what I always say. So for example, let's say that it is possible, I'll just say about my own case scenario, so it's easier. Let's say that, I didn't have any patience, or I had very little patience. And so in that case, I would actually say often that nobody really wants to come to me. So I'm just a failure. Nothing's really going to work. There's no point in doing all of these things. This is just not going to work. This was my story. And then I actually started saying that if I actually had only 1 or 2 patients a day, and today I'm grateful to say that I have a full calendar, at least for 2 months, every single time. And that is definitely not my own doing. There's a lot of divine grace there. But the point is that it went from being only able to see 1 or 2 patients a day to actually having a full calendar for 2 months at a time with a long wait list, is something that was actually created from my mind, where I started saying, okay, I'm going to focus on what I have, not what I don't have. I'm going to be grateful for the 2 patients that I have that comes in today, rather than focus on the 8 patients that I don't have. So it was a practice. I had to start practicing things like, I'm going to be grateful for the breath I have. I'm grateful for all the organs I have in my body. I'm grateful for the food I have on my plate. I'm grateful for, so whatever I had, I focused on rather than what I didn't have. And every day I would wake up, write down 10 things I'm grateful for. Before I go to bed, I'll write down 10 things I'm grateful for. And I kept changing the things that I was grateful for every single day. So I had to keep finding things that I'm grateful for. And over a period of time, it shifted the way I thought. And I started actually realizing how blessed I am, how abundant I am. And then the stress started melting away. So when now challenge comes, I look at the challenge, yes, and then I actually say, okay, this is out of my control. I get frustrated by it. I won't lie. Yes, I do. For a minute, I'll say, oh, I don't like this. But then I'll say, okay, this is out of my control. So what can I do here? One, I can deal with it angrily, upset, produce all these bad chemicals in my body and ruin my day or ruin my week or ruin my month. Or I deal with it patiently, calmly, quietly, and with divine intervention. So I always meditate, because that helps me connect with something bigger than me, and it actually gives me the answers, so I can be guided more rather than try to think that I know all the answers from my mind, because I don't.
Thank you, Dr. Sowmya. And do we have any other questions from audience? I do see some comments. Somebody asked. Yeah.
Yes, somebody actually asked a question. I did see that. So I had a podcast called Live Healthy Naturally. I paused it because my life was just getting too much, out of control. Too many things going on at the same time, and I just couldn't put so much of attention into it. It required a lot of energy and time, which I didn't have. I still don't have. So it's paused for now, and eventually I will renew it again, and I'll go back to it when I have a little bit more time. I am, in the process of hiring another doctor for my office. So hopefully I'll have more time to do those kinds of things. So yes, I do offer virtual consultations, and I use Zoom, as well as we use our own app. It's called the Jane app. And in that, we have a virtual platform too. We use that for all of our patients all over the United States. And protocols usually might include, it's a combination. So I always include a dietary protocol that's very tailor-made for each person. And then you may get an Ayurveda remedy, you may get homeopathy, you may get some Chinese medicine, you may get supplements. It's a combination is what I do. I don't do just one or the other, but it all depends on the person that needs it. It's not really something that comes from my mind. It is every person's need. Everything that they need is what we do.
Yeah. So, Dr. Sowmya, we are from across the globe, actually, because I have some people from India also joined the call, and different states of US people have joined. So where are you located? Like, if you share that information and how to reach you, it will be
Dallas,
nice.
Texas. I'm in Dallas, Texas. My practice's name is Hygeia Wellness Clinic. So, I think it's also on the flyer, the name of my practice, and we are in McKinney. It's a suburb of Dallas, Texas. But I currently don't see patients yet outside of the country of the United States because of being not able to send them the medicine. So if you are in the United States, we will ship you all of the medicines to you. So which means that even if we do virtually, you will get exactly what we do in our office in person. You will get it anywhere in the United States. But we are in the process of actually starting another, branch in India. So once we have that set up, then we will let you know. But right now, I don't see patients outside of the United States or Canada.
Thank you. And I do believe Sridevi has some questions.
Yeah, I also see a few questions. Let me answer those that have already come in. And
Yeah,
then
sure.
let me know.
Sure.
Thank you.
Go
So
ahead.
somebody asked me about the green smoothie and how we do it, how I do it. So 75% any leafy greens is what I actually add. And then 25% fruits. Again, any fruits are good. The idea of the fruits is to just make the smoothie palatable. You should not be adding more fruits than greens, because then it'll actually be, you don't really need to blend fruits to consume it, because it's sweet enough, it's delicious, everybody can eat fruits by itself. But the fruits place is just to make the greens palatable. And then you add seeds, which is flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds. You can also add sesame seeds if you're a fan. Okay, so any of these seeds, at least like a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of each, and then you blend it with just water. So what this does is it provides all of the micronutrients or minerals and some of the vitamins we need. It also provides us with omega-3, which is an antioxidant that fights inflammation in the body. Inflammation is pain, swelling, anything that's not, or eczema, all of these are inflammation. Anything that's not supposed to be there, if it's there, it's inflammation. So this smoothie can be a great source of putting out the fire, so to speak, in your body, but it also can be a great nutrient to keep you healthy if you're already healthy. Neem castor oil procedure, how it works: you take neem powder. If you're in India, get the fresh neem, like the baby leaves or and the korundu. You take that and you blend it into a paste. Make it into a small paste, like a size of, I don't know, I don't even know, not even a little lime that's too big. Something smaller than that, goli, chinna small goli, maybe something like that. That size. And you actually just take one of that first thing in the morning for 3 days in a row. And after that, the 4th day, so hopefully you will actually keep it in the way that the 4th day is going to be a day that you're home. So the 4th day is going to be 2 tablespoons of castor oil if you're over 120 pounds. If you're less than 120 pounds, 1 tablespoon of castor oil and a half a glass of warm to hot water. You mix it, you drink it. And on the 4th day, don't eat anything until you have completely emptied your bowels. You will feel it. You'll have diarrhea many times, which is normal, okay? And you will keep drinking warm to hot water throughout that time until you have emptied your bowels. Once you have completely emptied your bowels, you will feel how empty it feels. Then you can start eating things more like rasam, okay, or soup, and the madri lightaana foods you start with, and then you slowly add more foods, but nothing really very hard to digest. No meat, no non-veg on that day. You want to keep it as mostly kootu, like fresh, easy to digest kinds of foods on that day.
Thank you, doctor.
My pleasure. So the book that I actually recommended was, yes, the 4 Agreements. My book, if somebody was asking me, is it's called What's the Natural Treatment for That. It's available on Amazon. And you said Sridevi had a question?
Yes, I
Yes,
do
I
see
do.
her. Yeah.
Hi.
Okay, Sridevi.
Hi, Dr. Sridharan, thank you so much. It's like an eye-opening, very inspiring. You had your own way of explaining stuff, which was awesome. So thank you for that. But 2 questions. So being a mom, I really loved the idea of same lunch and dinner with
Yes.
teenage kids also. So, but so then in which case, like dosa, chutney, that's all out of the way, because
Right. Yes.
that cannot be pre-made or whatever.
Correct.
So what are some of the combinations that you use that's actually helpful?
So typically I don't do dosa and all of that on the weekdays. It's it's that simple, okay? So all of those usually goes on the weekends when we actually have time. On weekends, we do make something that's for lunch, something for dinner. But usually on weekdays, I don't do that since, I have a full-time job. I realized very early on that if I have to make 3 meals a day, it's not happening. And if that's not happening, we're going to eat out. If we eat out, it's actually going to ruin our health. So I cannot tell the whole world to eat better and I go and eat out and ruin my own health. That's not going to work, right? So which means that we decided that this is how I'm going to do it. So which is lunch and dinner. So usually my lunch and dinner can be anything with vegetables, rice, dal, beans, any of these combinations. And so it can be Indian, it can be Mexican, it can be even Italian. It can be any of these things. But usually whatever we make, sometimes I just made adai the other day. And adai was for lunch and dinner. Okay, I made it, packed it for lunch and went and came back in the evening and just made that. Because adai is so heavy, you don't eat a whole lot of it. So I didn't mind actually making it. So it can be any of those combinations. Whatever you make is what we do. So I'll make sometimes spinach or something like that, 2 sides, 1 dal, some protein, and then the carb. And because I, again, have a desk job and talking job, I don't really have manual labor job. So I don't really eat a whole lot of carbs at lunch at all because I know it makes me feel slowed down. Okay, I feel that. I feel heavy. I feel slowed down. I'll actually yawn a few times with the patient. It's not the patient, it's the food. So I always have to remember that. So I don't usually take much of that. I'll just take vegetables. I'll just take some, lentils. Whatever I make, I'll pack the kids more of that. And I'll take the lighter version of that. So I eat a smaller lunch and I eat a little bit bigger dinner. And we have a smoothie for breakfast.
Okay, awesome. So the second question was, let's say somebody comes to your clinic, no known health issues. I'm saying known because after listening to you, you never know what's going on. But so what is your plan? Like, what do you do? Or do you even recommend doing that if there's no health issues to come to a nature clinic like yours?
Well, first of all, what I actually say is that when you say known problem, we are usually talking about diagnosis, not necessarily a lack of symptoms. Because if you have a human body, you have symptoms. You may not yet have a diagnosis, right? So, and as I said, because it takes 5 to 7 years for diseases to develop, many a times we are all about prevention. We are all about education. We are all about empowering. And of course, we treat the diseases too, but if we can actually prevent that, that's the best. So we do wellness checks because of that. So if somebody is local, there is a specific test that we recommend. It's called as the oligo scan. And this test is a tissue, mineral, vitamin, heavy metal test. So it actually shows us what you are lacking and what you have too much of. And then we can actually show you why you have that. And there may be some symptoms that are associated with it now. So one of the things that I always tell people is that our bodies are constantly talking to us, constantly. Okay, and it never lies. Our mind lies. Our body never lies. Okay, our mind tells us all kinds of lies. Eat the cheesecake. Don't eat the cheesecake. You are an idiot. You are amazing. It'll say all these things, right?
Right.
But our body doesn't lie. It actually will only tell you one thing. If it burns, it burns. If it hurts, it hurts. There is no 2 ways about it. It won't be like it hurts and then it doesn't. It's perfect. It's never like that. It's always going to tell you. So listening to your body is a great way of identifying things before they arrive and preventing it from arriving. So the oligoscan gives us that because it gives us what is in the tissues. So we can correlate many of your symptoms with that and we correct it. And your body actually goes back to health.
It's amazing. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So you said virtual consulting, right? I mean, I do live in Texas, but not in Dallas. But so these tests are available everywhere in the US?
There are some places that it's available. Wherever you are, if you reach out to our office, we'll be able to find a location for you where you can get it done, and then we can actually do the consult for you.
Okay. You said no insurance, right? You're not no insurance. So how does, I mean, because you're a wellness clinic, right? So why is that? So I know medical systems all about treating or symptoms, but you're about prevention. So is that why the insurance doesn't take that into consideration, or this is not a?
Because, okay, so I'll give you this example and then it'll actually become a lot more apparent why. So most conventional medical doctors' offices get kickback from the pharmaceutical drugs that they prescribe, including vaccines.
Mm.
We don't. We are
Okay.
of no use to them. So which means that covering my practice is of no value to most insurance companies because it doesn't bring them more revenue. It actually takes the revenue away from it.
Got it. Okay.
Because insurance companies are powered by pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
Yes, and we don't use any pharmaceuticals in our practice.
So your education is just not like Ayurveda or whatever, because you
I'm a
said you
homeopath.
practice.
I have a homeopathic degree, and then I actually have an ND.
Okay. So because you said Chinese medicine, you said
Yes.
naturopathy. So that's all like you have gained all those knowledge learning
Correct.
ways.
So I went to school here too to get an ND in the United States.
Okay.
So yes, and I studied homeopathy in India, but I actually got an ND here.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So there was another question that I want to address. Somebody has asked about the Indian restaurants opening up, especially, oh my God, in Dallas, it's crazy. So the thing with eating out is that, and again, eating, period, typically, because we have this tendency to eat for our mind. But does our mind need food? Like, is there a stomach in our mind somewhere that actually needs food? It doesn't. We need food for our body. So if you eat at an Indian restaurant, I just want you to notice how you feel after. And that's your answer. If you have heartburn, if you have indigestion, if you cannot eat another meal, if you feel heavy, if you feel bloated, if you have constipation, if you have diarrhea, if you are burning when you have a bowel movement, that is your answer, that that's not really food that's going to provide you health. And that answer is immediate. It's happening to us. But instead, we go take a Pepsid and keep going with it. It's not going to help because our body has spoken and we got to listen to it. I mean, anytime I eat at any Indian restaurant, pretty much here, I got to take a break for the next meal. I cannot eat another meal. I have to take a break. And my body is telling me that. And whenever I feel that way, I'll never go back to that restaurant ever again. It's that simple. I feel that I actually listen to my body very well, and I always teach my patients to listen to their bodies very well because it is telling us the truth and we got to listen.
Yeah, Sowmya, this is Frank here. I have a question. Does anxiety or lack of sleep impact teeth and teeth gums? And how do
Yes.
we prevent that?
Well, anxiety affects the teeth because people grind their teeth if they are anxious.
Right.
So you can't actually stop the grinding until you stop the anxiety. We're all about root cause. We're all about treating the root cause. So if you have anxiety, we need to go to find out why and heal that anxiety rather than just put a night guard in the mouth. Because the night guard will prevent the teeth from being ground down. But what it will not prevent is you not having, or anybody having, deep sleep. It cannot actually give us deep sleep. So when there is no deep sleep with anxiety, and that's the reason why we are grinding our teeth. So when we have anxiety, typically why we grind our teeth is our subconscious is telling us to stay alert in case of a predator that comes at night and catches us and eats us. So grinding of our teeth is a way for our body to kind of stay awake. Rather than go to deep sleep, it kind of stays in the state where it cannot go to deep sleep. So which means healing cannot happen. So it's much larger than just our teeth and gums. It's going to affect our body's ability to heal everywhere.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Sowmya.
My pleasure.
Because when our bank account is full, the tooth grinding doesn't happen. When that,
Well, I have
not
actually
only
been at
that,
one
a lot of
point in
various reasons.
Well, but the thing is, does really full bank account give us the most amount of joy? Is that true? We just have something else to worry about, isn't it?
Right. Correct.
So
It
we're just
goes
actually
one.
shifting focus to something else. We are not
Right.
really.
True. Yeah, good.
Yeah, my pleasure. So somebody asked the question, if you had to create a medical themed cocktail, what would it be called and what would be in it? Wow. Well, it'll probably be called a green smoothie. That's one of my favorite things to actually recommend to people because easy, nutritious, healthful, and anybody can actually have it. So I guess I'm not going to name it into anything, but it will be called a green smoothie. Greens are the way to go. So include more greens in any form you can. If you could trade places with a fictional doctor from a TV show or movie, who would it be and why? No one. I've never actually thought about it that way at all. I'm very, very thankful for all of the teachers that have taught me all the things, but I don't want to be anyone else except for me. I'm happy in my skin.
Amazing. Thank you, Dr. Sowmya. I think in the chat we covered all the questions. And anyone has any final question before we move on to thank you note with Jayanathan? Any other questions? All right. And one final note about our Elevate event. We are looking for speakers and sponsors. So if you are aware of any elite speakers or who can engage the around 400 or 500 entrepreneurs, so please recommend to us and also reach out to us for any sponsorship information. And a special invite to Dr. Sowmya. Please block your calendar for September 26 and 27. It is happening in Dallas, Sheraton, DFW Sheraton Hotel.
Okay.
And please, we welcome you and like-minded people. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. And Jay, it's now your turn for the thank you note.
Thank you, Vasan. Sowmya, this is great to have you here on this platform. So, like I said, we have 400 people, 400 plus very busy entrepreneurs drawn from all over US. And I would say most of the people joined today, I think there's all over US, not from Dallas, but we have significant people from Dallas. So people would find you and they'll reach out to you. We all have a busy lifestyle, and most of here people are technical entrepreneurs. They balance technology and entrepreneurship and family. So which means they have to have a physical and mental well-being without doubt. So I appreciate all your guidance and support and the wellness journey that you have provided us in the last an hour or so. The knowledge, the encouragement, and then most importantly the compassion you bring to this this speech and then the care towards the community. It just definitely will have a lasting impact on us for sure. We look forward to talk to you, to meet with you, to have you in more sessions in person or virtual. Like I said, there's a lot of people here in Dallas. I'm in Dallas too. Vasan in Dallas and Vass is in Dallas. A lot of people in Dallas. I'm glad that you're not too far. So the healthier habits, but definitely we will, whatever you said about the smoothies, from the sleep cycle, the breathing habits, reducing the anxiety, all of those are very critical in day-to-day life, and it will empower us to stay consistent and mindful. Once for all, thank you for your dedication and the very positive energy that you bring to this session today. And like I said, we will definitely get in. We will have people from our group will reach out to you for additional guidance and support, and be a part of the better health community. This all, I mean, the words can't express, but I think we all have lots of takeaways to continue the wellness journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thanks for joining now. And let's continue in our next bi-weekly meeting. The announcement will be made soon. And thank you, Dr. Sowmya, once again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you, everyone. Bye.